Hello everybody, this is Thunder out in the Nevada desert. It's a nice day today. Just thinking about certain things that I wanted to talk about. One of them being maybe our last line of defense as far as freedom in this country goes. The sheriffs, the constitutional sheriffs, might be our last line of defense in some states. And I was kind of wondering about sheriffs because I have a friend in San Francisco that's going through hell right now because he's on the fire department and they're trying to force the COVID thing on him, and I've been advising him as to what to do in regards to religious exemption, things like that. And one of the things I told him is that he's got such a good background that he should check into the Constitutional Sheriffs Association, CSPOA, Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association, which I belong to, just because I want to support them. Although at one time I was real close to becoming a sheriff. I was in fact a sheriff, I just didn't take the final oath because I had to move from Arizona. Sheriff Search and Rescue. I'm a pilot and they wanted to use my services to search for lost people. But anyway, that's another story. So the sheriffs actually have all kinds of authority, and I started looking up the history of sheriffs, and it originated in England, and the words that they used way back, I think in the 1700s, the origin of the word sheriff is from two English words, shire and reeves. Shire reeves, which translates now into sheriff, and they had authority in certain counties, okay, and they also had authority to hire a posse. So that got me looking into the posse comitatus, and so, like in the Old West, they had sheriffs, and then when some bad guy did something, they would organize a posse. Where am I going with this? Well, sheriffs can deputize any number of people. Hell, they could deputize hundreds of people if they wanted to. And so I'm thinking, our only line of defense right now is to maybe, this is a possibility, to get authority under these constitutional sheriffs, and there's a whole bunch of them now in all kinds of different states that are fighting the vaccine thing and the lockdowns and saying that they're basically not going to arrest anybody or they're not going to comply with the bullshit that's being laid on everybody right now about that. Seems like it's ramping up. And then you got the FDA thing, which is nebulous. The wording in that basically is such, if you really read the wording of the FDA approval of the vaccine, the shot, it really doesn't give approval for the current vaccination. I think it's Pfizer. It doesn't really, it's still an emergency use. However, they gave approval to a drug, I forget the name of it. It starts with the C, that is coming in the future. It hasn't even been developed yet. Okay, so automatically everybody thought that because they put these two things together in the same announcement that they were giving approval for the vaccines when they're not. Okay, which will allow people to think that it's okay now, and certain other governmental organizations to go. It's the old trick, okay, the old ace up your sleeve, the old shell and pea game. look over here, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do manipulation here. And basically what it's going to end up being is that people think that there's approval when there isn't, and which will allow them to go forth with their agenda. So all these things that I'm talking about, the sheriffs, the posse, now you have posse comitatus too, okay, and that comes from the word posse, and the word posse means to be able. In other words, to be able to do something about whatever needs to be done, okay? So I just thought I'd come on here and wax and wane, sit here in front of the beautiful scenery I'm seeing outside in the desert, southwest Nevada. And talk about what some options might be in regards to there being the last line of defense against the tyranny that we're seeing encroach upon us right now. So, in a sense, that would be a form of militia, okay? That would be a form of militia that would be organized under the sheriffs or the constitutional sheriffs. And that would give us kind of a leg up as to defend, at least if it's in a county, in a state, against the ridiculous federal laws, and that includes all ridiculous federal laws, including gun control, which is another law that they're trying to push through right now, hard and heavy. There's a new ATF guy in there, or they're trying to get in now that Biden's trying to get in. He's the same guy that burnt those 80 kids at Waco, okay? The David Koresh thing, I don't know if you remember that, but they just burnt the place to the ground and killed 80 children. So that's the same guy, a murderer. So in order to defend ourselves against all this shit that's coming down, I'm recommending that people hook up with their local sheriff and find out if he's a constitutional sheriff or not, what side he's on, and use that as kind of a way for you to feel protected against some of these insane laws that are coming down, that are coming out, that really are putting people's lives in jeopardy. That's basically what's happening here, is that people's lives are being put in jeopardy. So it's up to you. I mean, it's up to each individual to check out their own locale and see what's going on there as far as this is concerned. I mean, it's definitely something to look into, something that I recommend highly that you look into and try to take advantage of it somehow. I'm just out here to try to give people information. That's, I'm just coming from the heart. I'm just trying to give you some truthful information, and we all know, anybody that's awake knows that tyranny is in full swing here. I mean, like I said in another video, look at Australia, look at Canada. People are they're in the streets in the hundreds of thousands. They don't show that here. They're not going to show that here on the mainstream media. They're not going to show you things, because if it doesn't fit their agenda, they don't want to show you. And if it's a situation where they're trying to make you passive or ensure your passivity, are they going to show you all these thousands of people in the streets like of Montreal and France and Australia, and truckers going on strike in Australia against the government, so that to show their solidarity for the people? And I mean, there's just a whole shitload of things going on right now, people, that don't paint a pretty picture. It's not a pretty picture right now. And it's not going to be for a while until people wake up, till people start taking action, until people realize, okay, that their freedoms are being completely taken away in the name of a medical emergency. And I knew a long time ago, man, I was doing videos back in, I think it was 2014, and I actually talked about someday they're going to impose some kind of medical situation where they're going to try to enforce people getting shots. The movie was, not the movie, the video was about, I was talking about the zombie apocalypse way back then. What do we got now? We got a bunch of masked zombies out there. That's what we have. And then what are they trying to do? Well, they're trying to turn it around and make it look like the ones that don't want to participate in that kind of action are the zombies, or the ones to worry about. I mean, you couldn't make this shit up. The deep state will turn things around 180 degrees. They'll turn your brother against you, okay? Every man's hand will be against his brother. Where does that come from? Well, that's biblical. Not that I'm a Bible thumper, because I'm not. I know too much about the history of religion to do that, but there are some good quotes, let's put it that way. Not all the Bible is bad. I don't believe that. But what I do believe is that there are certain things in there that were written to kind of give you a heads up as to what's going to be happening here. Every man's hand shall be against his brother. And you got a bunch of other stuff too that some people might take, and I've heard some people take it to mean that the mark of the beast is the vaccine. And well, it's kind of like that, because it says the mark of the beast you will not be able to buy or sell except under the auspices of some kind of mark that the beast puts on you. Well, that comes very close to what they're talking about with vaccine passports and all that bullshit. So I'll leave it to you. But there's been many prophecies, Hopi prophecies, and many prophecies that predict what's happening now and the intensity that we're experiencing right now. I'm just talking today. I'm trying to keep it delicate so that this gets up on YouTube, because evidently people just can't get that through their head either. I put videos on here and say go to Rumble and subscribe there, and I might get so many views here, and then half those views, just like I put up an announcement, go to Rumble and watch my video, and I get all kinds of views on the one that's the announcement, and then when you go to the video on Rumble, and it's like half of that. So people can't even go down and click on a link to go to another platform. And that's just a sign of the complacent, lazy attitude that people have. They don't know, they look a gift horse in the mouth. I mean, here I am out speaking from my heart, okay, about these things. Just like my book, Listen to the Wind Speak from the Heart, which incidentally is an award-winning book. Here I am, coming from a shamanistic attitude, but also coming from the attitude of just outright, hey, you got to protect yourself and your kids and your grandkids. That's all I'm trying to do here, folks, is help people out. Seems like every time you try to help people out, they take it the wrong way. It could be taken the wrong way. And if anybody's going to take anything anyway, you can better be sure Murphy's Law says they'll probably take it the wrong way, or their ego can't handle it, or whatever. But I'm telling you right now, people, you need to really give this some serious thought about what's happening in this country. We ain't in Kansas anymore, Toto. We're not in Kansas anymore. This is not the country that you grew up in. It certainly isn't the country I grew up in. Being born in 1946 as a war baby, a baby boomer, I guess is what they call us. But I still have recollections just on a psychic level, on a DNA level, on a feeling level about what went on during World War II. It wasn't a pretty picture. It's exactly like it was now. Not only that, but I think I might have been a soldier, specifically a pilot in World War II. I have a past life, a reincarnation into this life from that life. I'm pretty sure, being the intuitive person that I am, I get very strong feelings that I actually experienced the war. But barring that, even being born shortly after the war will give you that feeling of what it was like then, and it was not a good thing, okay? And that's exactly what's happening right now. We're returning, history's kind of repeating itself, only in a different country and a different time. So the reason that I come on here and talk about Constitution is, am I real big on law enforcement or cops or anything like that? Well, no, not the normal cops, but sheriffs are kind of a different breed, and I kind of relate to the Old West and how justice was taken care of back then. There was none of this bullshit of letting criminals get away with crap. You faced them down. Now, to get back to the sheriff thing and the posse comitatus, that could be used, the posse comitatus could be used as a militia, okay? Now, you hear a lot of things about that the armed forces can't be called up as a posse comitatus to, like, subjugate the people. Well, think again, because if a governor calls out for emergency help somehow, that is a possibility, especially if the sitting president, which is Biden right now, decides to invoke some kind of insurrection act or something. All bets are off then. All bets are off. So it's really, really up to the people right now to form up. Start talking to each other. No more social distancing. Get on the phone. Start networking. Start seeing what you can do to cover your grandchildren and your children's ass, because they don't know what's going on. They're just born into a propagandized world. They have no clue about what's going on. So it's up to you as a parent to protect them from harm, to protect them under natural law from any kind of harm, no matter what you got to do. And not just your children. How about your wife, your girlfriend, your brother, your sister? How about them? Now, you can try to do all you can to warn them, but the people that are awake or enlightened enough to know what's going on have a responsibility, and I feel I have a responsibility. Even at my age, I could just say, fuck it. Bunch of dumb shits out there that just comply with authority without even checking into the facts on things, and letting a situation get into a runaway situation where all bets are off. All bets are off. So take heed, people. I'm going to leave it there today because I don't like doing too long videos, and it just takes me longer to upload and all that stuff. So I'm going to leave this video short, but I just thought I'd get on here for a little bit and wax and wane, or wax on, wax off, like the Karate Kid, you know. Put out a little bit more verbiage out there, a little bit more insight, a little bit more of a warning. I'll continue to do this, I guess. On my last video, I said I might not do this anymore, and I had a few people tell me that I should keep talking. So even though I don't have that many followers, the ones that are class. Okay, they know what Thunder's talking about here. They listen to Thunder's words. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Adios.